Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the McDonCast, the funnest podcast in town, the only podcast around. Ladies and gentlemen, boy, do we have a very normal amount of news for you this week.
Oh my
because
gosh,
last
so
week
normal.
and the week before were insane. Maybe we could actually even review the Minecraft movie today, since we got basically nothing.
If we want to talk about that for some reason, yeah, we can.
We have so many thoughts we could share.
Well, there's a lot of stuff coming out right now. Have you been watching all the TV? It's a hot
I
time
haven't
for
seen. I will be watching Last of Us on Thursday probably, because me and my friends are gonna watch it after improv.
Daredevil
what else
wraps
is
up
coming?
this
What is
week.
Oh wait, I thought Daredevil was already over.
No, there's one more. Well, did you watch the last one?
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was the season
You thought
finale.
you were just gonna get shot at the end.
Well, and then you got to build up hype for the next season.
No,
yeah, I thought that we were doing a Game of Thrones.
Punisher's supposed to show up on the next episode, and Daredevil and him are gonna team up and have a big fight with Bullseye, presumably. Who we know is gonna live, because we've been getting a bunch of set photos of season 2, and he's in the Bullseye outfit. Oh, it leaked. He's gonna get the DVs next season.
Oh, cool! Wow, that seems kind of funny. I don't know why he would do that now, but I guess better late than never.
That show is tanking in the ratings. No one is watching that show.
Yeah, episode 5 kind of killed the momentum it had.
I don't know if it ever had that much momentum. I think
it had like the tiniest bit of momentum.
I think it might just be too niche. Like, there's a very specific subset of Daredevil fans. I feel like
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's one of the better Disney Plus shows they've done. I think the problem is just no one who didn't watch the Daredevil Netflix show is watching this.
Watching it,
and that's just not that many people. Especially since the show is obviously like twice as expensive as that original show was.
And I think what they did last episode was actually really interesting. I like this. I like the side characters that we have. I like the one up and coming kind of suck up guy. I think he's interesting.
Yeah, I like
the news reporter girl, and I like their relationship. I think that's fun.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
I don't really like Daredevil's girlfriend as much. She is the same as every superhero character girlfriend who's like, superheroes are lame and I don't like them. And then, oh, but your boyfriend's a superhero. Oh,
yeah. I think they're just gonna direct. I think she's just gonna get swapped out with Karen in season 2. Karen's supposed to be back in an actual role.
Yeah, why is Karen not in the show at all?
Because she wasn't going to be in the show when they made it the first time, and then when they came back and I guess retool. It seems that they retooled was they reshot the pilot.
Was the beginning
and these last 2 episodes. It looks like the whole middle chunk of the season remained the same from the.
I also think that all the stuff with the BB report, that all seems like stuff that they added after.
I think
during the next version of the show.
I think it was in
the original version of the show. Episode 5 doesn't have any of that.
I think they've just cut that. I think that probably had a bigger role in the show, and they've cut it out, and so it seems more like a tenuous,
a superfluous thing.
Yeah. Although it looks like they might be doing something with that in this last episode. I don't know. The show has a lot of characters, and most of them don't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, they don't. That's the thing, is the show doesn't seem to be building towards anything. Even with this most recent episode, when we have spoilers, I guess. Daredevil gets shot by Bullseye while he is trying to kill Kingpin for framing him for being paid to kill Foggy. It's getting very convoluted with that, but it's okay, so that happened.
Yeah.
What is that even? That doesn't really throw a wrench into any of Kingpin's plans, because he seems to kind of just not care that much that Daredevil's back on the scene. We have the scene where the guy's like, Daredevil's back, and he's like, dang it, I hate that he's back. And then he doesn't really, he's just like, all right, moving on.
Our through line this whole season has been the anti-vigilante task force.
Yes.
Although it seems like How many vigilantes are there really running around in New York City where that is a genuine threat?
Yeah, it
Like
seems
maybe
like kind
four
of
or
just the
five,
one.
and they haven't caught any of
There's
them. And
and like
they're
okay,
the anti-vigilante
I know
task force, but they appear to just be
this is a
doing
common
corrupt crime.
criticism. This is a common criticism with MCU stuff, but if we're doing anti-vigilante task force,
Right.
where is Spider-Man?
Well,
Actually, where is Spider-Man?
Man in Spider outfit was mentioned in episode 1 in a newscast,
And it's a TV show,
but we
which
legally can't use him.
means why not? It's TV show.
Sony has the live action TV rights. If it was a cartoon, they could use him, but they can't use him in live action TV. That's how they're making that Nicolas Cage Spider-Man noir show for MGM Plus. It's because they own the live action TV rights.
I don't know about that. That seems like we are interpreting the deal to mean that, but
No,
you
they
could
they do own the
interpret
live
it to
action
mean it
TV
the other way.
rights. Marvel, when they renegotiated that deal, I think in like 2012, they get all the merchandising and they get the animated stuff, but they don't get any of the live action. They have to get permission
Oh,
from
okay.
Sony. And I think the show is already expensive. Getting Tom Holland to show up, I feel like that would just boost the budget even more.
Oh, it would be beyond the scope of the show, but
Well,
it's
it would.
what I'm saying is it's getting to a point where like logically it makes no sense for him not to be involved.
Well, I'm just. Oh yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense at all. But I'm just thinking like, well, we're doing this like anti-vigilante task force. You obviously had Punisher for one scene. Where's the rest of the? Let's just bring back the rest of the Netflix cast then.
Okay, hold up.
Where's Luke Cage? Where's
So
Iron Fist? Bring back Jessica Jones.
Sony's live action TV rights only apply if they're producing episodes longer than 44 minutes.
So you're saying if they make a Daredevil episode that's 42 minutes,
They are legally allowed to use Spider-Man.
I think that contract reads as if you're making
Actually, I remember that
long
I
form.
got into a tiff with someone on like Instagram Reels once about this exact thing. Not really a tiff. I was more just explaining it. But yeah, that is, to my recollection, that is actually what their deal is.
I think an entertainment lawyer would interpret that as if you're making long form television, like hour long, Sony gets the rights. If they were making like a half-hour comedy, Spider-Man could show up, which means I
Yeah,
guess he
but
could
what if
probably
it's
have
40, whatever, it's 43
he
minutes
could have shown
though?
up in She-Hulk then, but they just didn't do that.
He could have,
He
but
could
why would
have, I
he show up
guess.
in She-Hulk?
I'm just saying that's the only like half-hour Marvel show they've done where
Oh,
it's like a
yeah. But
half-hour
I'm saying like
comedy.
you could have a couple shorter episodes of Daredevil.
Sony would litigate that, and I feel like Marvel's main thing with Spider-Man and Sony is they just want to keep them happy, so that when they need Spider-Man to show up in an Avengers movie, Sony doesn't throw a fit.
Yeah, they don't have to. They don't have to bend the knee too far.
And they don't really care about the TV stuff because they get him in the cartoon shows and they get him in the theme parks. They get all the theme park Spider-Man stuff, and that's what matters to them.
Does Sony even have a theme park?
No, but Marvel has the Spider-Man theme park merchandising rights.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna grab my food that just got here.
Wow, he's so unprepared.
That was not an option.
Well, time to get a scooter.
Anyways.
Hey, you think these barbecue flavored Chex Mix are any good?
Probably not. They didn't give me a straw. Let me go grab a straw.
They're really fun.
All right, no straw. We're just going lidless.
Do not
I don't
have
like doing that on the computer desk. Anyway,
Daredevil.
Yeah,
I mean, we can
Daredevil.
talk about it more when the finale is next week, or this week when it wraps up.
Yeah,
but
I will say there is I do like the assassination thing. That is something has finally happened.
I mean,
I feel like the first episode stuff happened, and then this episode stuff happened, and the rest episodes nothing happened.
Fisk's and Matt's arcs are both like good. Like they're fine arcs to build the show around.
Yeah, and they're actually exploring the characters in a way we haven't seen yet.
I don't have any problem with those. It's mainly like the other characters and the lack of just any sort of like imposing threats or ongoing. There's no good reason for Fisk and Murdoch to come into collision with each other. Like we don't ever feel like we're building to that. So I feel like that's kind of the major issue with the show. That and in the Netflix show you had such strong supporting characters with Foggy and Karen. And in this show we just have none of that. So if it's not Matt or Fisk, there's just nothing going on.
Yeah, there's nothing to hold it together. I'll be right back real quick.
Okay. It's just running all over the place. How loud is this chewing?
All right. What's next? Actually, I don't think we've done anything yet. Let me give you guys a brief rundown of today's episode. We got trailers. Oscars getting a new category as highly foreshadowed by the Fall Guy. China is deciding to do a 2016 all over again. The movies that will never get made cinematic universe is expanding. We got a couple new entries in the movies that will never get made cinematic universe.
Three bold new entries.
Which, for those of you who don't know, are the movies that will never get made. And then Warner Brothers is doing a whole... They just announced a bunch of things. So many things. They got a lot of things to say.
Sam, but first we got a bunch of trailers.
Let's look at the trailers.
We can briefly flip through these. You don't care about any of them. There was a new trailer this week for a movie called Havoc, starring Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy's in it.
Yes, this is a new action film. This is from Gareth Evans, writer-director.
And the guy who plays Saw Gerrera is here.
Writer-director of The Raid. This is his first movie in about 7 years. My only note on this trailer is that this looks cool.
Tucker, you know the show Leverage?
Leverage?
Yeah, the heist show.
I've never heard of this. Is this an anime?
Leverage? No, it's a live-action network TV show where every episode they do a heist.
5 seasons.
But they're like anti-villains and they do a heist. Anyway, in the first
there was a spin-off show
episode
on Freevee.
In the first episode, there's a group of like African emissaries who are offering to buy this specific airplane contract to manufacture airplanes. And the guy who plays Saw Gerrera is one of those guys in the background.
Forrest Whitaker is in the TV show Leverage.
Yes, he's in the TV show Leverage. He's in the first episode.
What is this show? Why do you know that?
We were watching stuff after improv one night, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, we gotta watch Leverage," and we were like, "What's Leverage?" And they were like, "It's a heist show," and then we were like, "Okay," and so we watched one episode. We watched the first episode. He's in the pilot.
It went for 5 seasons on TNT Network, and then they've revived it. It's now getting 1, 2, 3 new seasons on Amazon Freevee. 8 seasons of this show no one has ever heard of in their entire life.
Everyone loves Leverage, Tucker.
Noah Wiley's in it. He's hot right now.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. It has a high enough production value that you should have probably heard of it.
I don't really think of TNT original drama as high production value. I haven't even heard of these creators.
For 2009, the production value was pretty good. There's a guy so none of them have powers, all normal guys.
Librarians.
But one of them can move at the speed of sound and is also maybe bulletproof.
Wait,
and they never really explain why. No. There's a scene where these guys pull up, the guards for this building they're breaking into, and they pull up with guns, and he drops the bag that he's holding and super speed takes them all out and then grabs the bag before it hits the ground. There's no superpowers. He's just he just can do that.
He just has the ability to enter the Matrix fight mode.
Yeah. And in the first scene he's ever introduced, which is a flashback to his one of his first missions or something, he walks up to this like casino table and is like, "Do you have the stuff?" And the guy's like, "Yup." And all of the bad guy pulls out a bunch of guns, and then it cuts to the outside of the building. There's just a bunch of shooting, and then it cuts back, and all the guards are dead, and he's fine. So I guess he's just like he has the power to reverse bullets.
What streaming service were you on where you were watching
It's on
this?
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that tracks. Well, it's also on Zumo Play for free if you have Zumo Play.
Oh, Zumo Play. That sounds like a high quality
A
platform.
real streaming service that exists, along with
Alrighty.
MGM
Anyway,
Plus. Anyway,
Havoc. I have no thoughts about
yeah,
Havoc.
there was a trailer, the first teaser trailer this week for Eddington, which is the
What
newest
is
Ari
Eddington?
Aster film. This is his fourth movie, obviously writer director of Hereditary and Midsummer, and most recently Beau is
Mm-hmm.
Afraid. Me and Sam,
Oh, I don't like that guy.
very both of us, not very hit or miss with Ari Aster. Obviously, he only made three movies. I like Hereditary. I have not seen Midsummer. I hated
I
Beau
do
is
not like
Afraid.
Midsummer.
Sam doesn't like Midsummer. He hasn't seen the other two. So
And I fully understand Midsummer. I just don't like it. I understand the metaphor. I get it. I
Sam, are you
simply
sure you get it?
do not vibe with the movie. The movie vibes me no like. Me
This
no
is
like the vibes.
This is his first non-horror movie, although Beau is Afraid, you could argue, isn't one. That's more of a black comedy, but that's got a lot of horror elements to it. This one is just a
Hmm.
straight up this one is just a straight up black comedy, I think. Um, this has a pretty big cast. Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Austin Butler, Emma Stone, all in it. This is about a local mayoral election in New Mexico
Hmm.
in 2020, where a sheriff runs against the current mayor uh, and attacks him over his positions regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. This is going to premiere at
And that's what
Cannes
it's.
in May, and then I believe it's coming in wide release, yeah, on July 18th. Sam, how do we feel about COVID movie now that we're
17
five
minutes
years
standing
removed?
ovation. 18 minutes standing ovation, I think. That's what I think.
Well, Sam, a big news story this week was that they revealed the full Cannes Film Festival lineup, and I'm sparing you from having to hear it because it's just a bunch of things you've never heard of and will never see. But I did want to ask,
Probably not.
how do you feel about him doing a comedy, and then also how do you feel about COVID movies? Is it too soon? Do you think this is ripe for examination? We're now
I think
five
there's
years removed from the
definitely
pandemic.
room to examine it, but I don't know if it's going to be interpretable. Like I don't think anyone is going to be able to consume this movie or engage with this movie on its own terms. That's going to be impossible.
I feel like especially if you're going to make a movie like this, and it's him making a movie like this, obviously a guy that likes to provoke and shock
Mhm.
and make people uncomfortable. I think he does know that this is going to generate some heat, if nothing else,
Like
in
I would
terms of
not
making people
expect anyone
upset.
to make like a 9/11 movie, for example.
Yeah, yeah, and I do think it's interesting that this is. I mean, this is the most high profile, I think, movie directly about COVID. We've had a few small like Zoom call movies that were made kind of
Hmm.
during it that addressed it, but this is kind of the first like bigger movie from obviously like a big name filmmaker right now. And to
Yeah.
approach it from like a more comedic standpoint and from such a small scale, uh, I feel is really interesting. And also to just have it directly be about two characters like debating COVID and mask mandates and like regulations and stuff. To have that be the crux of the story.
Like I genuinely don't think that we will be able to dissect this time period with any sort of like
Genuine like uh
genuine ability to decipher it until
yeah, what
like
is
20 years down the line.
yeah, we have
Like
to be
until
completely removed from it. And
yeah.
I think until the point where the people who were most of the people who are running the government when this was
have
happening, when
been
they're
replaced.
gone and been replaced.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when we will actually be able to have an honest conversation and be able to dissect this from a more analytical standpoint. Because right now,
Yeah.
if you say anything COVID related, it's just everyone
It's still
like,
a flashpoint.
yeah, it's still insane. And the funniest part about it is it's two sides arguing over over mandates from 5 years ago now, and mandates that everyone kind of fundamentally agreed on for about 2 months. And then it
Mm-hmm.
just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. And the people, especially the people in the government now, obviously, not to get political, we're going to have to touch on this a little bit more later, but obviously very anti uh, a lot of the regulations that everyone experienced
Yeah.
back then. So I don't know. I mean, Ari Aster, I didn't, again, Beau is Afraid, which was his most comedic movie, was a movie I dreaded having to sit through. But I didn't think that was because it was completely unfunny. I mostly felt that way because it was 3.5 hours of Ari Aster working through his horrible mommy issues. And I just had very little interest in hearing about that. And
Yeah, it
then at the
doesn't
end, a
sound
big
particularly
penis-shaped
fun.
monster shows up for like 1 second.
That's good. You know, that's always nice to have.
He's got a face.
That's
It's a
good.
weird movie.
All right. Well, let's talk about a less weird movie.
This is the television
Murderbot.
series starring one of the Skarsgårds. Which one? I don't know. I can't tell them apart. It's
One of
coming to
them,
Apple.
not Bill.
Not Bill? Which one? Let's see. Let's find out.
The other
Alexander,
one.
Sam. It's Alexander Skarsgård. It's coming to Apple TV Plus in May.
This looks kind of fun. I saw the
this
trailer. It looks fun.
yeah, it's a sci-fi series about a rogue
Apparently, it's
security
based on a
robot that
book.
gains free will. Yeah, I heard. I think I don't know if this is true or not. I read somewhere that the book is like not very good.
So apparently, it's based on a book, and in the book, he has a face and it's visible the whole time. And this one, he has like a helmet. Now it does retract, and he does have a face.
Yeah, because he looks
kind of like Buzz Lightyear.
Alexander Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm. I know nothing about the book. I did see some people upset that his face was covered for part of the trailer. I don't think that
he's gonna
really
be
matters
walking
that much.
Maskless for most of it. David Desmelchin is in this.
Yeah.
Our boy. We're both big fans.
The cast for any Apple TV anything is usually stacked.
They've been
so
on
that's
a hot
to be
streak,
expected.
man. They're putting out good stuff right now.
Speaking, I don't know if this is on the list, and so we might as well speak about it now. But Mythic Quest getting a DLC patch ending.
Yeah. A show that only me and you have seen.
No yes, it seems only we have seen the show, and it's a good show. Y'all should watch it.
It's fine. I'd say the first 2 seasons are worth watching, and then when you get to 3 and 4, it's clear they made them just because they like hanging out with
each other. If you like the characters and you just want to see them do more goofy antics, the other seasons are fine. If you were more interested in the story of the show, the story ends in season 2.
Season 2, yeah. And then after that, they just kind of spin in circles, quite literally.
They're just like, we'll see what they're up to. What are they doing? What's going on with them?
It got canceled after 4 seasons, and the weird part was when it got canceled, the creators announced that they're gonna, I believe it's supposed to be this week, put out a new version of the season 4 finale with a patched ending that I guess is supposed to give the show a little bit more finality. That's a weird decision to me.
Very, very weird to me. Why did they already film this?
And
they just had it. They just had it in the chamber just in case, and they didn't know, so they just waited.
Well, it wouldn't shock me for them to film season 4 finale as in case it was canceled to shoot that.
Yeah, like that doesn't
series finale.
That makes sense, but then like why did they make a second one?
And then have to go back and put that in later?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like they didn't know if they were going to get another season, and then so they planned to maybe get one, and then we'll release the ending if we don't.
But I feel like they also did that with season 2. Like if you watch the season 2 finale, it's pretty clear that they weren't sure whether or not the show was going to continue. And so
season 2 makes it seem very clear
that
like
as
we're
the series
done.
Finale, it works fine.
Yeah.
Season 4, I don't. It's weird to me that they have shot stuff that made it work that way and just chose not to put it in, and are not putting it in retroactively.
Yeah, and season what is this, season 4? Yeah, they do introduce a lot of stuff and then they don't really conclude any of, like, the whole thing with Poppy's sister that she apparently had this whole time.
Yeah.
Although I think she did complain about her in other seasons, but we don't see her show up
Is
until
she
this one.
in the well? There is an episode where we see Poppy as a kid. I don't think she's mentioned a single time. That might have been a retcon.
Yeah, maybe unclear.
Anyway,
well, actually, very clear. I'm just not going to go rewatch it to find out right now.
No, of course not.
HBO Max sizzle reel. I think the only thing in this that I know is Last of Us.
Yeah, they put out a sizzle reel of the stuff that they do this every time one of their major shows wraps. They put out a little sizzle reel. It's
Last
like,
of
hey,
Us
don't
and
cancel your HBO. There's stuff coming.
What show ended that they needed to release this
The
for?
White Lotus just wrapped its 3rd season, and so they put this out. Yeah.
Why is everyone talking about White Lotus? Why did SNL dedicate 2 weeks to making fun of the White Lotus?
It's a big hit. Everyone's watching the White Lotus. All the millennials.
Are they? I don't know anyone who's watching White Lotus.
Viewership was up over season 2. It's a big hit. It's all over the homepage. Now picked up for season 4. I was gonna watch it, but I ran out of time, and I was like, okay, I'll just go back and binge it all before the 4th season, and I have like 3 years to do that because television takes forever.
People are talking about it on Twitter, so like I'll probably eventually watch it, but I don't know why people are so into it right now.
But the only big reveal from this sizzle reel was that we now have a release date for Peacemaker season 2, another show that took 3 years to make, 3.5 years. Actually, technically more than that. The first season premiered in January 2022. And this new season will premiere in August 2025, August 21st to be exact.
Why did it take... Actually, I know exactly why it took so long. Actually, yes. I think out of all the live-action superhero shows, this one has the best excuse for why it took so long.
The best excuse, but also why even bother?
But also, why are they even making it at all? And to begin with, is my main question. Also,
well, we know why. It's because James Gunn wants to make his show.
Why is Jake Paul reality HBO Max show? Why? Why is that?
Sam is talking about the critically acclaimed new Max original series, Paul American, which follows
about Jake and Logan Paul.
On
the trailer, by the way,
to ruin society.
9,000 views on the trailer.
Only 9,000.
I'm pretty sure the Logan Paul cast or whatever it's called gets more views than that on like a random week.
People watched the crap out of that fight he did with Mike Tyson. It's not even in the top 10 on Max.
You mean the retired legendary boxer? That guy?
Well, I'm just saying, like, do people not care about the Paul brothers as much as they thought?
It seems like not really, no. There's 9,000 views. This sizzle reel has 500,000 views.
It didn't crack the top 10 for HBO Max shows today.
And this is not even like a trailer for anything. This is just a trailer for HBO, and it has 500,000 views.
Sam, more people are watching All Access PD Grand Rapids on Max than are watching the Jake Paul docuseries.
Yeah, and I don't even know what you just said, so that shows that no one cares.
It's one of those, like, we just upload dash cam videos of cops, like, pulling people over being drunk. One of those shows. But, no, I mean... I would see why you would greenlit the Jake Paul, Logan Paul reality show. The thing
I understand why the executive
the audience that would view that is not on Max, they're on YouTube.
No.
Yeah. So they're not going to...
And they're not going to pay for Max to watch it because they're not going to pay to watch content.
Logan Paul vlog.
Do you know how many hours of content about Jake and Logan Paul there are on YouTube?
You could die
if you need
to
watch it. You could, you would. The universe would burn out and die before you finished watching all of the Jake and Logan Paul lore videos.
No, there's been article after article recently about how Hollywood, after Beast Games was such a hit, and with all the uncertainty,
it wasn't even that big of a hit. It barely broke even.
Oh, with all the uncertainty in the movie and TV business and not knowing like where the young audience is at, like all the big studios are going to try to lean into creator-driven content.
Okay. Don't worry, guys. Let me help you out.
It's cheap.
The audience is on TikTok and YouTube, but they won't watch the stuff you make.
But if we
hope that helps.
Sam, think about this though. Think about this. Straw Hat Goofy, the show.
I can only watch Straw
Draw.
Hat Goofy for like a TikTok at a time. I don't know that I would want to watch him for an hour.
What if Drama Alert?
Also,
Hour-long daily
okay, Straw Hat
newscast.
Goofy is to like Disney what like the New York Times is to the government. Like generally speaking, they just print exactly what the government wants them to say. You know?
Yeah, that's how all those TikTok movie influencers work.
Yeah.
Their
Like I don't
job is
blame them,
to is
right?
no
Like they gotta
get your
they gotta
bag,
bend the
bro.
knee so they can get invited to the next, premiere. But
Yeah, if you say a bad thing about a Disney
it's
movie,
not
they're not going
exactly
to invite you to
interesting.
the premiere or let you do
Exactly.
interviews or go to Disneyland for free or whatever they do.
It's like Soups when he reviews a movie. If he starts off by going like, "I just want to say that a
Yeah,
lot of hard work goes into making a movie," and then you know that the review is going to be terrible of that
that's
movie
the
if he starts the review that way.
that's the Kojima "I watched this movie today" tweet, where he
Yeah.
just tweets that he says nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right, Sam, this one you might be interested in. There was a trailer this week for the
Mm-hmm.
Predator animated anthology movie Killer of
I
Killers.
did watch this. This looks
Um,
really sick.
this
It's
is
like
from
Arcane.
yep.
It looks like Arcane, and it's the idea that I came up with last time.
Well, I mean, this has been in the works before you came up with that idea, I believe, like 2 or 3 weeks
Yes, I'm
ago.
sure it has, but I'm saying they made the thing that is exactly the thing that I wanted, but it's also Arcane, so I'm hyped.
This is one of two Predator movies coming out this year, both from Dan Trachtenberg, who did Prey. This one is going straight to Hulu. We talked last week about
Is this a movie or
Badlands.
a miniseries?
This is a movie. This is an animated anthology movie. It's going to have three different sections. One
Why
is
don't
going
we
to
just
be
do
a Predator
miniseries?
versus a Viking. The other part is a Predator versus a samurai in Japan, and the other one is a Predator versus a World War II pilot. But yeah, this
Why
one's coming
is
to
this not
Hulu.
a miniseries?
It's coming
Why
to
is
Hulu
this a
in
movie?
June, on June 6th, and then the live action new Predator movie is coming out in November in theaters.
Cool.
Why you say
I
why
will
is this not a
watch this.
miniseries?
Yes, why is this not a miniseries?
Well, I mean, I think like 20 to 30 minutes of what if Predator fights samurai is probably enough.
No, but each episode he fights a different guy.
Is he gonna
And then
lose
you
every time or win every time?
well, that's the thing. That's why you watch the new episode. Who's going to win?
Like I'm assuming he's
Dude,
gonna
what if he fights
lose.
what if he goes to ancient times and he fights a T-Rex?
The Predator
Tucker,
always
you're not
loses.
thinking.
He would just kill the T-Rex. That's not really a fight.
No, but what if the T-Rex eats him instead?
How do we feel about the fact that Spider-Verse made every animated movie look like this now?
Um, this looks more honestly. This looks more like Arcane than Spider Verse.
I know it doesn't look like one to one, but I'm talking about just in terms of like 3D models with the like 2D kind of shading over them
I mean, I like it more than like the
with like the
generic
thicker,
Pixar look. So like, I'm fine with it.
that like a choppier animation. It kind of moves a lot like Spider-Verse does, where it looks like it's almost
I
in the
would
same
kind of like to
frame.
see more variety, but
I
this
would
is the
too.
most variety we've gotten in a while. So I mean,
My
I'll
my
take it.
what I saw with Spider-Verse after seeing that, I was like, what I hope this does is get animation studios to like do movies in distinct styles.
Hmm.
What I didn't really want them to do was just like, okay, we'll make every movie look like this now. That's not really what I
Hmm.
wanted them to do. Like obviously Ninja Turtles, the new Ninja Turtles looks like Spider-Verse in a lot of ways. Disney kind of tried to rip it off with Wish. I didn't know if you remember that. They were like, what if it's kind of
They didn't know how to
2D?
do it right.
Yeah, they didn't know what they were
They
doing.
couldn't figure it out.
But yeah. No, this looks fun. I'm excited for this. More Predator stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, a movie that is probably a little more controversial in a really stupid way is one we talked about last week, but we got the trailer for it, and that is Wes Anderson's new film, The Phoenician Scheme, which
Why
comes
is
out.
this controversial?
Oh, because people hate that Wes Anderson movies are like Wes Anderson movies. I went and saw The Amateur this weekend with Rami Malek, and there was like a couple other people in there, and there was one like probably 30-year-old there who was just very angry that this movie exists. Not quite sure why. He just
Did Wes Anderson like recently say something bad about the president or
no, he
something,
says
and so
nothing.
people don't like him?
He just makes his
So
movies. He
why
doesn't
are
even really do interviews.
I don't understand? So why are the people upset?
Well, people they're always complaining that his stuff is like so distinct and like you could tell it's
Oh
a Wes
no,
Anderson
he's
thing
an
by looking at it.
artist with a unique art style in a
And I'm
world where
like,
everyone else does the same thing. What
he
a
makes one movie every
travesty.
like 3 years. You don't have to see it, and like it's not very often. It's once every 3 years. It's like it's. I'm fine with it being like
And I
this.
think
I
it's
don't get it.
cool. I think more directors should embrace a unique style so that they are different from everyone else.
This looks funny. This looks good. It's
This looks,
obviously
yeah,
got
this
a
looks
great
cool. I
cast.
can't hear the audio, but I'm looking at it and it looks cool.
Well,
I like
yeah,
the way it
but
looks.
you already know what it sounds like. It's got that fast talky,
It's
dry.
like do
Everyone
do
talks like a dead
do do
person.
do do
Yeah,
do
and the music's
do
going do
do
do do
do
do do.
do. That sound is how the movie sounds. I can't hear the music, but I know that that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, this comes out in like a month, very very soon. It's gonna get eaten alive because it comes out a week after Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible. So
That was a terrible release date, and
not
they
quite sure what
released
the
this
thought
trailer way
process
too close
there.
to release.
Yeah, no, they should have put this out way sooner. I get it that like everyone kind of knows what a Wes Anderson movie's like. You don't really need to put out a trailer, but like you do have to let people know that the movie exists so that they
Yeah,
know to go see it when it comes out.
and they are. This trailer is giving us significantly more information than the last one. What was it? The
Asteroid
train
City.
one? Asteroid City. Yeah,
Yeah. You saw that, didn't you?
I did not. I was not at the theater when
Okay,
you guys saw
yeah, I
that,
did.
but
Yeah,
everyone else saw it.
it comes out the same day as Karate Kid and a
I think
week
the only Wes
before.
Anderson film that I've seen is the one where they're on the train in India.
Oh, the Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah, that we watched with Mama and Papa. That was a
Did you
good
see
movie.
the
I like
dog
that
one?
movie. The
You didn't
dog
see
one.
the
No,
cartoon
but I've
dog
seen
one?
clips of it on TikTok. But I
No.
actually not really. I've seen like I've seen like clips of the cuts. Like I have seen very little of that movie. Basically no more than the trailer.
All right, this next trailer kind of goes hand in hand with the first news item this week. And that is that there was another trailer, what I guess is going to be the final trailer for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, the maybe, probably, last Mission Impossible movie. Do we
But
think
we'll
this is
see
the
how it
end?
does and we will go from there.
It's got final in
Impossible
the
movie.
name. It's
Is
got
it
final in
the
the name.
so I proposed this question to the group chat
Mm.
when we were talking about this movie, but is this the last big spy movie?
Yeah, and
Are
I
we
think,
kind of done with spy movies after this as a
well,
genre?
there, I mean, it's not like there's ever a lot of them. Spy movies have never been a thing, but
No,
like,
but like all of the major franchises are this is the last one.
well, I mean, Bond will be back. They're fast moving
He'll
on
be
that. There
back,
will be a
but
Bond
he's
movie.
never going to be the same. It'll be Amazon. It's not going to have the same
It
vibe.
won't be that like big spy movie, and then we won't get another one of these for 5 years. It'll be like
Yeah.
here's another one, and then there's going to be a TV show spinoff next week. It's going to be like
And then
that.
there's 15 coming out next year. Yeah.
I mean, the question is whether this is the last Mission movie. It's not going to make
Oh,
its
they're
money
ripping
back.
off Chuck. I didn't know they were ripping off Chuck.
Oh, because he's going to go into the computer.
Well, he's got the intersect.
I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to put a computer in his brain. I think at some point in the movie, he's going to go have to like talk to the entity.
Tucker, they locked him in a chair, held his
Yeah.
eyes open, and forced him to have a flash. That's the thing from Chuck.
Well, okay. So the villain is still the entity from the last movie, which is the evil AI.
Yeah, the AI ball in the bottom of the ocean.
My guess is at some point he's going to need to like talk to the entity to like
Interface with
understand what
it.
it's
Yeah.
doing. And so they'll send him in, and then the entity will like talk to him in the
Try to
form
take
as
over
one
his
of his
brain or
dead
something.
friends. And it'll be like, you know,
Yeah.
Rebecca Ferguson died in the last movie. It'll be like, it's
Right.
me. I look like Rebecca Ferguson. Doesn't that make you confused, Tom Cruise? It'll be like one of those things.
I think that there will be a group of agents that the AI like took over their brain, and I think it will try to take over Tom Cruise's brain.
Interesting.
But I think because he's the coolest guy,
Yeah.
it can't take over his brain.
Well, because
and then he'll
his
be
brain
able to
is made
stop
of
it.
his brain is made of movie magic, and computer can't control
Well,
it.
he's the coolest guy, and he can't lose because he's the coolest guy, and so
Uh,
his brain is immune.
computer zombie man, computer mutant cyborg zombie man would be an interesting place for the Mission Impossible franchise to go.
No, but I think it's more like the AI like flashes you with like whatever the perfect set of information
Yeah.
it's determined will get you to do what it wants,
Well,
and then you'll just kind of have to do that.
It's already got minions working for it. It doesn't really need to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, this cost a preposterous amount of money, including marketing. It's going to cost over $500 million. No matter what
Yeah, but see,
happens,
I think part of the justification for that is, well, it's the last big spy movie.
yeah, I think it's not going to make its money back no matter what. Early tracking came in this week, and it's supposed to open bigger than Fallout, which was the last biggest opening the franchise had. And I think
I could see that.
that movie ended up at like 700 worldwide, like a little more than that. I think if it just is the highest grossing mission movie, Paramount will be happy. It's not going to make $1 billion. It's not going to do Top Gun
It
Maverick
just
money.
has to make more money than any of the movies they've made so far, and then I think they'll be satisfied.
But I think this summer it's looking right now to be a pretty good climate for the film industry, which has
Yeah,
not been the case for many years at this point. Uh,
traditionally, no.
and branding it as the final one does give it that, like, people will go see it because it's like, well, we probably won't get a chance to watch another one of these in a theater, so we'll go check it out and
Yeah,
watch Tom Cruise dangle off an airplane and jump off a submarine or whatever he's doing. And there's some
and
fun
I mean,
people joining the cast.
realistically, he's gonna be in what? The next Top Gun movie and this, and then like he's kind of getting up there. I don't know if we're gonna be seeing a whole lot more big stunts from him
Yeah,
after
that's
this.
my thing. As much as people talk about the fact that he doesn't age, like, Father Time is undefeated. And even if he only
Yeah,
looks like he's
he
55,
will.
and he's 62 now, even if he only looks like he's 50,
No matter how much money he gives to Xenu, he's not going to be immortal.
at a certain point, you can no longer hold on to the side of an airplane because your bones will break because they're too brittle from you being old. So
Yes.
you can only do this for so much longer. Uh, but yeah, no, some fun people joining the cast for this one. Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, Nick Offerman, the guy who plays Milchick from Severance is in the trailer for a
He's
second.
great. I
I
want
love
him
that
in
guy.
every show.
Dude, how is he not in a million shows and movies before this? How are we just now
Oh
discovering this
no,
man?
he seems like a
He's got,
charisma, like
he is made of charisma.
nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get this man in more movies. He hasn't even been, like, you'd think it'd be one of
he's
those.
arguably like one of the main villains of Severance, and everyone is universally like, yeah, but I vibe with him though. He's actually chill,
No, he's
and he
chill,
doesn't
bro.
even do anything like morally good. Like he's not. It's not like it's questionable whether or not what he's doing is good. He's definitely a bad guy, but like he's just such a cool guy that you're like, oh, all right, I can't be too mad.
Bro, he's just a chill guy. It doesn't matter that he's doing what's practically slave labor. He's just a chill guy. All right. Yeah,
All
so
right.
the reason this ties into the next story is that it was announced this week that the Oscars are going to be adding a new category at the 100th ceremony in 2028, and that'll be Best Achievement in Stunt Design. So after years of people on Twitter begging, they are finally adding a Best Stunt Oscar. This will first apply to
Ooh,
films in 2027. That'll also be when we get eligibility and
why?
voting stuff for.
Why?
Mhm.
Why are we even bothering to announce it if we're not going to use it until for 2 more years?
Well, they always announce it a few years ahead of time. Obviously, you can't do it this
Why?
year because we're halfway through the year. So it would
So
be.
why not?
What do you mean, why not?
Why can't we do it?
The reason they do it so far in advance is because films take so long. So when they put out the requirements for what this would entail, they need people to have time to adapt their productions to fit the requirements. And because of the
No,
way
no,
the
no, 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 no,
voting
no,
works
no,
in the
no, no, no,
academy,
no,
you
no,
need to
no.
make sure you
Hold
have
on.
enough people from whatever field.
That's silly. That is silly and goofy behavior. And here's why. I think the movies should just be judged on what they are right now, and we shouldn't wait for the industry to start pandering to them before we start making judgment calls. That is stupid. Why would we do that? That doesn't make any sense.
The other reasoning is they're going to debut this at the 100th anniversary, at the 100th Oscars. And that way they can be like, it's the 100th Oscars. And we have this category you've been waiting on forever. And oh my gosh, isn't this amazing?
What is this year's Oscars?
This year was 97. So it'll be Oscars in 2028, which means it'll first apply to movies in 2027.
Just what? Why?
We are
just
getting
do it.
We are getting a new
Oscar
category this year.
But this one wasn't good enough for the 100th Oscars.
Best casting. There will now be an Oscar for best casting that will debut at next year's ceremony.
Yeah, that also seems like it should have been a thing already.
Now, they did not clarify whether this award will be handed out on the telecast, because if you include it with the new casting Oscar, that's now 25 awards to hand out in what is supposed to be 3.5-hour show.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to.
I mean, who categories. Are we? You just drag the casting director out on stage and be like,
it'll be casting director, yeah. And then stunt work, it'll probably be the stunt coordinator, I'm guessing.
The person who does the stunt?
Yeah, it'll be the stunt coordinator.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Wait a minute. Hold up. Is this like best stunt performance by the stuntman or best stunt idea?
I think it's going to be best stunt work for like the whole movie. Like, what movie has best stunts in it?
Right, but I'm saying who gets the Oscar? The stunt
guy
it's
or be the stunt coordinator? Yeah.
That's lame. I want the stunt guy to get an award.
The casting director.
Then we need two. We need two now. One for best stunts and one for best stunt.
It's never enough.
Not plural, so that we actually give it to the guy who does it.
It's never enough.
Okay, but when a movie... Wait, hang on, no. Because when someone gets best performance,
right,
we don't give that to the director who, directed the performance.
Award.
We have a separate category for that.
Right. Right.
So that should apply to this as well.
Yeah, but there's more than one stunt happening.
Yes, but okay, so there's best stunts, best...
And then there's
whole
best
package,
individual stunt.
And then best stunt singular that you give to the guy who did the best stunt.
What if the stunt involves multiple people?
Then you give multiple trophies
they all
out.
Get it?
Yeah, they all get one. Why not? They're made up anyway.
Now, I think they're going to cut the shorts categories. There's 3 whole categories being eaten up right now by various shorts that no one can even really watch before the Oscars.
What do you mean
knows
shorts?
What they are.
What are you talking about?
Well, okay, so the Oscars has 3 categories for best live action, animated, and documentary short films, which that made sense in the 30s when you would get a short film that would play before a feature if you went to the theater, right? In 2025.
But now we've replaced that with ads. Okay, so then the solution here, we do best ad in the theater.
Maria Menounos.
That's the new version.
Time, undefeated.
And that way we can give, you know that Cinemark ad that's really annoying where they do sign language and the theater transforms into a concession stand or something? We can give an Oscar to that commercial.
That's not what happens in that advertisement. You've seen it 100 times.
But you know exactly which one I'm talking about. Or the one where the guy shows up late to the movie because I guess he was buying concessions for an hour or something. That's never happened before. But we can give him an Oscar for that.
Dude, people are okay, minor tangent. People are showing up way too late to movies these days. I was at the movie theater this weekend. I kid you not. There was a group of 3 that showed up 45 minutes late to the movie. It was 15 minutes into the feature. You guys paid for the movie. 1, you paid, and 2, it's okay, I get it, there's ads. You can show up a couple minutes late, miss a few of the trailers, you'll be fine. It's the, moseying into the theater 15 minutes in, arms full of popcorn and soda and candy that you're going to rustle with for another 5 minutes. And then on your way there, you got your phone out, dimly looking at the ticket because you don't remember what seat numbers you're in. And then you're assigning everyone's seats, and then you sit down and rustle with everything. And then you're sitting there, and now 20 minutes of the movie have gone by, and you are confused. It's that. People are showing up too late. These things
and then those people empty. Go in there they go on Twitter and they go, "This movie's bad,"
and then they sit there for 5 minutes, and then they check their Snapchat,
and then they go to Snapchat. It's always Snapchat.
It's always Snapchat.
What is it with you guys in Snapchat in the theaters?
Well, it's because
why is it specifically Snapchat every time?
I can tell you, it's because they're taking their phone out, right? They're pulling up Snapchat because they take a picture of the screen because they have to tell everyone mid-movie that they're watching a movie. They send a picture of them watching the movie to all their friends.
Maybe 3 people that still use Snapchat. Who are you people?
Is it older Gen Z
Instagram stories have been a thing for like a decade now. Why are you still on Snapchat?
They're doing streaks. They're doing streaks with people.
From the theater?
Yeah. You gotta tell everyone that you're watching a movie. You can't just...
Yeah, but then you just post it on your story and then you move on.
You can't do a thing and not publicize it.
Yeah, right, but I'm saying put it on your story on Instagram. You definitely have one.
Maybe they are doing that too, but they also gotta message everyone individually that they're watching the amateur.
No, see, when people... That drives me crazy. When people post something on their story and send it to you, it's like, dude, I do not care about your life that much. I don't know why you're doing that.
All right,
anyways.
Why are you even putting that on your story? It's such a mundane activity.
Unless you're putting like a review or something, like, hey, I saw this movie, I thought this about it.
No, it's not. It's just someone with their phone out down here, just like recording 5 seconds
taking a picture of a random scene.
And then they're just like, and then they just post it with no context. It's like, great. I can also sit in a chair for 45 minutes. They
gotta let the people know. The people need to know. All right.
If I
moving on.
Hang on. If I posted a Snapchat story of every time I was at the movie theater, everyone who is my Snapchat would think I'm insane.
Well, I mean, yeah, for good reason. Moving on. China is bringing back the movie ban, and it's not just Marvel this time. It's all of them. So let's get into it.
Why don't you read this story? I always read them.
All right, so according to the China Film Administration, or the CFA, the governing body that handles film releases in quotas for the Chinese government, announced that the country will be placing strict limits on the number of American films that will be allowed to be imported into the Chinese market, and the country will look to be increasing the importation of films from markets outside the United States. So, translation, Bollywood is about to pop off. Because as far as I'm aware, they're basically the only other guys making movies.
I mean,
who else is making movies? Well, France, kinda.
They're all making movies. It's just none of them. They obviously have.
Yeah, I'm saying have like a robust movie market. Like I think it's basically just Bollywood.
About that point specifically, they're lying. They're not going to import anything from anywhere else. They're not going to like all of a sudden start importing a bunch of like low budget auteur French romance films. They're just going to keep doing what they've been doing.
I think that this. Okay, moving. I'll finish reading this next part, and then I'll go into my conspiracy theories here. Multiple reports say that the decision is a result of the ongoing trade war between the Chinese Trump administration with the United States. Tariffs now reaching 125%. Guys, just call it an embargo at that point. You just say no trade with China. We don't need to keep making the number higher. Like at this point, we're just not. It's an embargo. You can make the number 1,000%.
But we
it's
still
just
need
an embargo.
goods from them. We still need their stuff.
I won't say too much about like the specific tariffs because they keep changing like day to day. So like it's hard to even really explain what's going on.
Tomorrow morning, it'll probably have changed by the time this goes up.
So as of yesterday, there was an exception for electronics, which made sense because that's our biggest import from China by far at $126 billion.
And we can't manufacture
it was announced later yesterday that actually there is no exception, and we are just moving it to a different category of tariff for fentanyl tariffs. But you don't tariff black market goods because if you knew they were coming into the country, you just wouldn't let them in. So I don't really know how that works.
Sam, what are you
Anyways, the Chinese tariffs on U.S. goods are up to 84% at the time of this post, although I think they're higher now. I think they're at like 104%. Something like that.
I believe this article was from 3 days ago, and I think it's changed since then.
Yeah. Sources for the Hollywood Reporter claim that the news was a shock to film distributors in China, which caused much concern to Hollywood studios like Disney, which makes sense because their stock price is super low today.
Yeah, Disney and Warner
Who
Brothers
just
stock
cleared
was.
Thunderbolts to release in the country April 30th. I assume that they will let the movies that already have distributions planned go
No,
through.
apparently those are in jeopardy. Those are dubious. They could go back
Oh,
on those.
okay.
Um,
All right. Well, let me continue. And Warner Brothers, who is optimistic about the pending decision to release F1 in the country this summer, both of these deals are now dubious to continue going forward. Interesting.
yeah,
Okay. While Chinese tariffs escalated. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Nasia 2,
yep,
which I think is how you say it,
yep.
recently became the fifth highest grossing movie of all time at a whopping $2.1 billion. The first ever non Hollywood film to make it onto that list, as well as the first ever to make $1 billion within a single country,
Yeah.
which being China, that would make sense. Um, I think that there's a couple different things going on here all at once. I do think that a big part of this is the trade war with China. I think that they are looking at what their biggest imports from the United States are, and I think movies is on
It,
that
it
list
it's
as far as
giving
things that they
them.
import.
I think it's giving them an excuse to do something they were going to probably do
Yes.
anyway in a few
And I
years, but now
think
they get
they
to
also
escalate.
just proved that they are able to make movies that are
Yeah,
competitive with Hollywood, and they want to do, as they usually, we see this all the time, they want to do protectionism, they want to bolster their domestic market, and so
yeah.
they will ban US import movies for 10 years, and then they will build up their domestic market, and then they will unban them and then compete globally. That's generally how China operates.
The
Um,
audience in China for American movies has been on the decline since about 2019, which was the peak. That was the Endgame year. That was the Lion King year. Obviously, that was a huge year for Disney, and all of their big movies
yeah.
performed well in China. Fast and Furious, I believe, had a movie that year. So
And the Chinese movie
that
market
was the
used to be
peak.
very. There's a reason why Transformers would randomly travel to China
Yeah.
sometimes for like no reason.
So around 15 years ago, early 2010s was when the Chinese film market began to really take off, and there became a lot of money to be made in China. And that was when the blockbuster budget started going up. They became dumber, more mass appealing in order to be able to go to the Chinese market and other international markets to have as broad appeal as possible to suck in as many dollars. The money Hollywood was making from China was never really that much on paper because they were only given 25% of the ticket sales for each movie. Um,
Yes.
the distributors, I believe, the theaters, I think, took like 40%, and then the government took the rest of it. So the Chinese government. So
Hmm.
it's they weren't catering to China or making as much money from China as they would say if it had done that much money in the US. The reason they liked China
Yes.
was because it gave them this giant spike in numbers. It could boost their movies to $1 billion, and then on the like on the websites, on all of the stuff in the trades, all of the marketing stuff, they could be like, this movie made $1 billion. If 300 million of that came from China, they're not seeing much of that, but it looks good on paper. Like it looks good to the
Yes. Your
public.
investors are happy with the movie that
Line
made a
go
billion
up,
dollars.
line go up.
Yes. Line go up, world more gooder.
And then after COVID, and we especially saw this during COVID, because Chinese theaters opened so much sooner, again after COVID, there was this giant explosion in the Chinese film market where they were making all of their movies in the country. They were getting a very few American import films because Hollywood was still on shutdown. And that really accelerated this kind of already natural trend we saw where, the Chinese audience, which is obviously very isolated globally in a lot of ways, tend to favor films made in China
Domestic
by
products.
by
Yeah.
people in China, and their desire to watch more Fast and Furious and Marvel number 37 went down, and it's going to continue to be like that. Obviously, the government favors that. It's easier for them to make movies in the country. They obviously have big censorship laws. It's way easier to just have the government approve everything and run the entire film industry than it is to work with the overseas distributors who have to censor certain things. And there's talks about cutting, they don't have to give them that 25% of the tickets. They can take that themselves
Yeah, they
if
could
it's all
just
produced in the
scoop up the
country.
money.
So this is not going to last forever. They're not going to be Well, one, it's not an outright ban on American films. They're just saying they're going to vastly limit it.
Yeah, they're just limiting the number. And again, this isn't even the first time we've seen them ban American movies before. Like I said, in 2016 we had the Marvel movie ban, as well as a couple other big studios that got banned. And this is also well within line of how China generally operates in terms of any kind of new business venture, where they will temporarily ban foreign products, bolster their domestic manufacturing or production of said product, and then unban it and compete globally. That's we've seen them do this over and over and over and over again. This is just them doing it again.
I'd say if this is going to hurt one studio in particular, it's going to be Disney. Disney has invested a lot in China, not just in movies, but also they've built theme parks in China.
Yes.
And those are gonna be hurt if there's obviously not the Disney movies there to feed the publicity for them.
Yeah, I suspect they will try and make deals with domestic movie producers to create attractions specifically for
the Chinese,
their
based on
stuff.
Chinese films.
I would if I were Bob Chapek, that's what I would be doing right now.
Bob Iger, got your Bobs.
Bob Iger, whichever Bob is in charge
this week.
One of the Bobs. They'll switch tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I were Bob, that's what I would be doing right now. I'd be making sure that I am buddy with those production companies.
The Marvel movies that do come out there still do fairly well. Minecraft just came out there. It's doing fairly well. Avatar is huge in China.
Minecraft doing well there is very interesting because the version of Minecraft that exists in China is not the same game as the Minecraft we have in America. It is a completely different game. It looks kind of similar, but it is,
took all of the
as far as I understand it, it is a MMORPG game.
Interesting.
Much more along the lines of Roblox than Minecraft.
But, it's still a big CG studio slapstick comedy, so I guess it's got some appeal. But the main franchise I think that you have to consider here is Avatar. That it's giant in China.
That is massive. In China,
it's what put it back in the #1 slot of the highest grossing movies of all time.
I suspect Avatar even China will allow that one to release there because I suspect they also have quite a bit to glean from that.
Avatar 3 is supposed to come out this year, so presumably this limit on imported films would affect Avatar. I would lock in that's going to be probably the one that's like guaranteed to slip through the cracks.
If anything gets through, it will be that one.
Yeah, but some of the
I think even movies... the domestic demand for that movie would be high enough that the Chinese government would be able to read the writing there and be like, all right, here, have your movie. Yeah. Interesting stuff happening here.
Isn't all this trade war stuff fun? Are you enjoying this?
I'm
having a good time.
Very interesting.
You know what?
Very interesting to watch.
I do love every time I refresh a news website. The policy has changed.
The policy has changed, yeah.
And the reasonings too. The reasonings, they never stop changing. That's my favorite part. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, you never know what the reason's going to be next time.
What did I wake up on today?
I wonder how much money we're going to make from the fentanyl tariffs.
Oh my, so much money. All right, Sam, you want to talk about some movies that will never exist? Just like the
Yes, let's talk about expansions to the movies that don't exist cinematic universe and won't exist.
Yeah, we got 3 very exciting offerings for you today. If you'd like to watch any of these, too bad. A film based upon the origin story of Hershey's, the beloved chocolate company, will release in theaters in 2026. The Variety, who put this article out and revealed this, was very particular that the reason they're doing this next year is to align with America's 250th birthday. I guess they believe there's synergy between the Hershey's company and America, the country.
America?
I don't know what the deal with that is.
Even though I'm pretty sure everyone kind of universally agrees that like Hershey's in America tastes terrible. Like everyone who comes from outside of America goes like, ew, your chocolate tastes like vomit.
I don't mind Hershey's chocolate.
Do you know the lore behind that?
Does it taste better in other countries?
Yes, but it's not just we use cheaper stuff in America because cheap. There's actually a real reason behind it. And like I don't know exactly when Hershey's was founded, but when it was founded, it was impossible to ship chocolate nationally before it went bad. So they had to add a preservative to the chocolate in order to ensure that it was shippable. And the preservative that they use is the same ingredient that like you find in like Parmesan cheese. It's also very similar to the ingredient your body produces when you vomit everywhere, and so that's why it tastes like that to people who aren't used to it. But the American palate was so used to that flavor of chocolate by the time that we had the technology to change it that we just left it that way because that's what we liked to eat.
That's the American dream right there, eating vomit.
That's the American dream.
Alexandra Daddario and Finn Wittrock are going to star. Mark Waters of Mean Girls fame is going to direct.
Is that Mean Girls the musical, the play,
the
or the
original
regular
Mean Girls film, not the musical film? Filming will begin in May across Pennsylvania. Wittrock is going to play Milton Hershey. Daddario is going to play his wife Kitty. It's gonna be about how they built a candy empire that powered a philanthropic legacy. And it's apparently mostly gonna focus on their charity for like underprivileged and orphaned children, which to me
of
sounds
course.
just like Hershey's company corporate propaganda.
Guys, how many has Hershey's ever done like a banana war where they like destroyed like a
The
city
Hershey's
for like lower
company
chocolate prices or something?
is financing the film. This is being made by the chocolate company themselves. They are doing this in-house with the help of some independent producers. But yeah, this is just straight up Hershey's are making a propaganda film about how cool they are.
Okay, let's see. Okay, child labor in its cocoa supply on the Ivory Coast.
Okay, yep.
Forever Chemicals in their packaging. Her for She campaign in Canada that had a trans woman, and so some people didn't like that. Heavy metals in their dark chocolate. Apparently, they've been sued for that as well. I don't know if that was proven correct or not, but yes, interesting things happening at Hershey's.
Would it shock to you that they had $11.2 billion in revenue last year?
No, that would not surprise me. No,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Spending some of that on the Hershey's film. Okay, here's another movie that won't exist. A film adaptation of Magic the Gathering is a go at Legendary Pictures and Hasbro Entertainment. Writer-director Matt Johnson, who made the movie Blackberry, is currently in talks to direct the project. It is unknown who will script or what material the film would cover. We talked about this a few months ago when they originally announced this, but the intention of this movie is to be the launch of a Magic the Gathering multimedia cinematic universe across film and TV.
I'm sure it is.
There's an animated series from Terry Matalas currently going at Netflix that would be in the same universe as this film. Sam, Magic the Gathering, big IP, definitely going to make $1 billion. No way that this backfires in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, so these are both companies owned by Wizards, or this company is owned by Wizards of the Coast, which is the same company and Hasbro, yes. But specifically, that's the same subsidiary of Hasbro that manages Dungeons and Dragons.
Hasbro was making this movie.
Yes. Which it seems their dreams of a multimedia empire around D&D have collapsed. And so they said, can we do D&D but a little bit different? And they were like, yeah, we have this other thing that's kind of like D&D but a little bit different. And so now we're doing that.
All of the articles about this announcement were like, it was Hasbro would give statements, and they were all quotes like, Magic the Gathering is our first IP to gross $1 billion.
Wow.
They made $1 billion for Magic the Gathering. And Dungeons and Dragons is not officially dead. They are trying to do a live action TV show also at
right,
Netflix.
but I'm saying like clearly those dreams have been squashed.
No,
so we're moving on to our next
the original cinematic universe is dead.
Yes.
Those guys are now making Monopoly movie. because why not?
That's good.
That's another movie that'll never exist. And now we got Magic the Gathering to fill that void, fill that hole. There are a lot of Magic
that's
fans.
not happening. That's not happening.
Oh,
but speaking of things that are definitely for sure never ever happening.
I forgot to bring this up during the Hershey's bit. You haven't seen The Studio with Seth Rogen? The new
I have
Apple
not
show?
yet seen The Studio with Seth Rogen.
Yeah, the first episode, the plot is that the CEO of the studio tells him he has to greenlight a Kool-Aid Man movie, or a movie about Kool-Aid, and like the whole joke of the episode is they're so desperate for IP that their big get is the Kool-Aid movie. And meanwhile, literally
I
this
could
week,
see that absolutely
like, guys,
existing.
Our big IP, Hershey's chocolate.
I could see that.
Bar, a regular candy bar. The most generic one of its kind. Yeah, it's a funny episode.
That is unfortunately plausible.
Yeah, he tries to get Martin Scorsese to do it, but he wants to make it about Jonestown, which is about people drinking Kool-Aid and then dying, and it's a whole bit. It's a good episode. Anyway.
Great episode. Great.
Another thing that'll never exist. According to the In Snyder, Amazon MGM is developing a remake/reboot of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and Ryan Gosling is on board as a producer. Are you familiar or aware of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Sam?
Yes, it is a reoccurring bit of like thing we reference from time to time. I believe it made its debut on the McDonCast during the first ever Film or Fake segment.
Would that have been on the Brian Liff podcast?
No, that one was Rabid Grannies.
Right.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I believe, was on the first Christmas film, not Christmas Film or Fake, but one of the other Film or Fake segments we did.
But yeah, Sam, did we think this will exist or no? Why is Ryan Gosling?
No, this will definitely never exist, ever. I have no idea why Ryan Gosling is involved.
My guess is he's just a very big fan of the movie.
I think he just thinks it would be fun, and so
he would. He's just producing it.
Yeah, but he thinks it would be fun. Like, it'd be fun to make.
Why would that be fun to make?
Because, like, what even is it? Like, what? Why not?
Why not? Why not is true. All right, well, those are 3 movies that'll never get made. You want to talk about a bunch of movies that'll definitely get made because they're all sequels?
Let's talk about some things that will exist, or otherwise known as things that have been canceled from the things that will never exist cinematic universe.
Yes, so after the bold, big success of a Minecraft movie over at Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers film heads Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, they're taking a victory lap. They went straight to deadline after that opening weekend number, and they were just literally there bragging about how this is a testament to the power of creativity.
We made $1 billion. We did it.
They greenlit that movie. They put the version of it that came out together. They were in charge when that happened. And they gave a couple of updates on some upcoming projects over at the studio, things that we were questioning whether they were happening or still happening, and we now know. So first off, they got asked about a Minecraft movie sequel, and they said that's guaranteed, that's locked in.
Obviously, that's happening.
Nothing's been signed, but of course that's going to happen.
We called it from before. We were like, we're going to get 9 of these.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a forever franchise. This is going to be a thing that we never stop making.
From the rafters, we called it. It's going to make $1 billion. People are going, it might not. It's going to make $1 billion. Okay? Jack Black is going to be making a bag for years to come. Shout out to that man who has just given up on making anything resembling a real movie and is just set to just play himself and make giant bags of cash when he does.
Did you see he showed up to screening of the movie and like said all the lines and told them not to throw popcorn?
Dude, that would get me to throw popcorn. Bad idea, Jack Black. Come on, I'm gonna throw popcorn at you.
Yeah, he did like an overhead announcement, and at first he wasn't like visible, and then he walked out from like the side of the theater, and he was like, "I am Steve," and then everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's really him."
But yeah, Minecraft movie sequel obviously gonna happen. Another sequel that is pretty much locked in, but they're just waiting for the paperwork to get signed. Is Beetlejuice 3, or presumably Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice,
That movie
Beetlejuice.
has to be
Yep.
made just so they can call the movie
We have to.
Beetlejuice.
We did too. We gotta. It's
We
the
made a lot of
threes. You say his name
money.
3 times.
We
You
made a
got.
lot of
You got. You
money.
got to do it.
Tim
Gotta
Burton
do it.
he's been saying, I don't know if I want to do a third one. I don't believe
Yeah,
him.
Tim, you're gonna do a third one,
I think
Tim.
it's a negotiating
Sorry.
thing. I think he's like, I would like more money. If I threaten to quit, you will have to pay me more money, please. I think it's a that
Sorry,
deal.
Tim. You gotta do it. You
That one
gotta
you
do
gotta
it,
crank out
Tim.
pretty fast because Michael Keaton's pretty old, and you cannot make that
Back in
movie
the
without Michael
chair,
Keaton.
Tim. Get back in the chair. All right. What else we got here? Drew Goddard is officially writing and directing a reboot of the Matrix franchise with Lana Wachowski executive producing the film. We're rebooting the Matrix? I thought
Again,
we were just
after the
making
last
another
reboot,
one.
the last reboot that came out like 3 years ago. Remember that?
I thought they were just making a fifth one.
No, this is a reboot. New characters, new storyline,
Is it
different
in the
stuff, but
same
also the
universe,
same stuff. Oh, of course it's
or
in the
is it
same
just the same
universe.
stuff again? Okay.
Well, it'll be in
So
the
it is
same
the Matrix
universe with
5
new
then.
characters, but it'll be the same stuff again.
So it's the Matrix 5.
Yeah, but probably Keanu won't be the main character. It'll probably be a
Well,
new
obviously, because
person.
he's old now, but like,
But it'll be like
it'll be the
you're
same.
the one, and you got to do everything Keanu did in the other
It'll
movies.
be Tron, the
Legacy,
show, what was it called? Tron Legacy. It'll be
Tron
that.
Uprising.
Yes, it will be that, but it will be the Matrix.
I think, yeah, it'll just. My favorite part about these announcements is whenever they do, they're always like, Drew pitched this amazing idea for a Matrix movie, and we just fell in love. We thought it was genius. And I'm like, he came in, he went, I'll do another Matrix if you pay me. I'll
What
just make
if
the
there
first one
was
again.
another
And they're
Matrix?
just
And they were
like,
like, oh my God,
well, if I
absolutely.
don't greenlight one of these by the end of the week, I'm gonna get in trouble. So
I'm going to lose my
sure.
job. So,
The last
yes, we
one,
will be making 9 more.
the last one was an astronomical failure. Like it was a
Last one
big
sucked.
flopperoonie.
The last one was just boring. Like, it was just not fun to
But it
watch.
also
Nothing
might have
happened.
been an intentionally bad movie because
Why?
it was also maybe Lana Wachowski making a movie about how she didn't want to remake The Matrix or rebring it back because the movie is also about the Matrix like video game in universe being rebooted. It was weird.
So
Uh
it
Lost
was
a bunch of
interesting.
money.
There were some interesting ideas, but they did not really go anywhere with them or explore any of them. They were just like,
Right.
"Hey, this would be cool," and then they just ignore it and keep going. And I was like, "All right, I guess, cool."
It came out day
Um,
and date on streaming. It was one of those HBO Max theaters day and date
yeah,
releases for that
I do
year.
believe I watched it when it came out on streaming. I definitely watched it. I don't know if
Yeah,
it was when it came out or later, but I definitely did see it.
but
All right,
still more Matrix. The Ocean's
Ocean.
11
Can we
prequel.
stop? Can we be done with Oceans?
The Ocean's 11 prequel is apparently still happening at Warner Brothers with
I'm
Margot
good.
Robbie and Ryan Gosling starring as Danny and Deborah Ocean's parents. Jay
We got too many
Roach
Oceans.
is supposed to
Too many
direct.
Oceans. We're done with Oceans. That's
Matt
too many.
Reeves
We're good.
has joined on as a producer.
I
Uh,
don't care.
they're doing this in addition to Ocean's 14, which has also been in the works.
Ah,
Clooney and Pitt and Damon have said they're coming
lame.
back. Two new
Don't
Oceans.
care.
Okay.
Boo!
The
I don't
premise for
care.
this movie sounds cool. Or
Oh,
not.
the whole movie
I
sounds
like
cool.
the Oceans
Like, I don't
movies.
know. Honestly, all of this sounds fine. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling in an Oceans movie would be
Yeah.
fun. The people making it are good. Like, I have no problems with this movie on like things that they've said about it level. I just don't care about Oceans at all.
And
I
I
think I'm
don't
good
know.
on Oceans.
Do you like the first one?
Yeah, the first one's good. I like the first one,
The
but
second
that's like
two
I'm
exist.
good.
Ocean's
I'm
8
good with
exists. Everyone
Oceans.
forgets about that
I don't
one.
think I've seen that one. I
Um,
think I've only seen the first one.
my main thing is I don't care what they do with the
I'm
prequel.
good.
That can be its own thing. 14, Soderbergh's not coming back. And I feel like if Soderbergh doesn't come back, like, why are we even doing this at all? Other
Yeah,
than,
well,
like, it's
stop.
got
Stop
Oceans in
doing
the
it.
title. Oh,
I don't
but also
care.
we know that doesn't work because they made Ocean's 8 and no one cared. So you can't just
Yeah,
put Oceans in the title and expect it to make money.
it doesn't work and no one cares. Speaking of things that don't work and that no one will go see or care about, Gollum is still happening.
Gollum is still happening. They're going to turn in a script next month. It's moving forward.
Why?
2027.
Guys,
Gollum. Gollum
Gollum
movie.
Gollum is not enough to sustain a property on his own. We know
Sam.
this.
Lord of the
This is
Rings.
known.
The original
As those
cast.
three handmaids say in the first season of Game of Thrones when they're talking about Daenerys Targaryen's poor pronunciation of Dothraki words, it is known. We do not care.
Sam.
We know that this is not going to work.
Sam.
Mm-hmm.
We brought back the original cast. They're all almost dead now from old age.
Don't care. It's not going to work because
We're gonna digitally de-age him. We're gonna digitally
you don't
de-age
need to
him.
digitally de-age him. He's a CGI
No,
blob.
not
He's a little
Gollum.
CGI gnome.
We're gonna digitally de-age Aragon. Aragorn.
That's
Aragon.
stupid. Why is he even there?
I can't remember his
What even is this
name.
project?
He's 60 now. We gotta make him
Does this take
30.
place before or after Lord of the
It
Rings?
takes place during the Fellowship of the Ring.
So it's just like, what was Gollum doing while this was happening?
It's literally that.
Doesn't he just like eat fish
Because
and like goblin around?
for a while they were looking for Gollum. I think there's some chapters
He isn't
in the
he just
book.
a little goblin and
What
he's
it
just
what
goblining around?
what it's based on is there's some chapters in the book where I believe it's Sauron's forces and the forces of man are both looking for Gollum because he's the last person they know who has the ring. And so they're chasing him down for a little bit. But then they go and Frodo shows up
Then
and
they
they go
give
for
up
him.
and do something else.
Yeah. That's the plot.
That's not enough.
2
That's
hours of
stupid.
that.
This is
You don't want
so
two
dumb.
hours of that? Gollum running
No, I
around for a
don't
little
care
bit?
about Goblin movie. I don't want to see Goblin
But
movie.
that game was so good. Everyone
Everyone,
loved
that
it.
game was about nothing and everyone hated it.
You know what's funny? They're
Is
covering
it
the
canon?
same story content. It's based on the same stuff.
Great.
They're going to do all the same stuff from that game in this movie.
What did he do in that game? He had to like
He
make a
just
deal with like the
he
lamplighter or
ran
something, or
around
like
in
a
some
candle
mines for a little
keeper.
bit.
Yeah, he ran around in mines and like snuck around orcs or something. I don't know what was going on in that game.
What's
No
funny
one
is
does. No one played it.
what's even better is that it's Lord of the Rings, so they'll feel obligated to make this 3 hours long, regardless of whether or not the story even remotely requires it.
That
So there
game
will
did
be a three
so
and a half hour
poorly.
extended cut of the Gollum movie.
That game did so poorly that it bankrupted and destroyed the studio that created it. That studio no longer exists. This is a terrible, terrible idea.
Hold on. Wow. What if now we bankrupt the movie studio?
Well, who's making this?
Warner Brothers. That's what we're talking about.
Well, so now you have my attention, because that sounds like a good idea.
Now, part of the reason they're doing this is because if they don't make this movie, they'll lose the rights. So when
Warner
that happens, it's
Brothers,
always good.
listen.
That was the reason. That was the.
We will work for you.
Right.
Hire us, please.
We will work.
You desperately need us.
Okay. I don't even need a big salary. If you just pay for like my rent and my food to move to and my transport.
To
move to Los Angeles, I'll do
for
it.
like 80 grand. 80 grand, I'd be good. That's definitely less than you're paying the guy who's doing it right now.
Millions less than what they're getting paid right now.
I will do it for 80 grand. Maybe we can negotiate up to 100 if I do a good job. But I promise you, I would have greenlit a much better idea than this, and this is so bad.
Go back to the drawing board. I think part of it is that they are very limited on what Lord of the Rings stuff they can use because the rights are all tied up with Amazon and Embracer Group. Like, I think it's
maybe
super
make
limited
it a different thing, maybe.
But I think all of the expanded Middle Earth stuff and the appendices, I think Amazon has all that, and then they're just allowed to use the original novel.
Okay, so just make some stuff up. Make some stuff up.
The problem is they can't make some stuff up that's too similar to the stuff they don't
Why
own.
not?
Because they'll get
Why
sued by
not?
Amazon.
No, 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 no. Listen. Listen. When Star Wars was out of ideas, what do they do?
In 1983, but yes.
Yes, but what do they do when they run out of ideas?
They make A New Hope again?
Right. Exactly. But what do they do when they make A New Hope again?
Spend a lot of money on it?
They spend a lot of money and they change out all the guys.
Right.
So here's what we do.
Who are the same guys but
We
have new names.
The new fellowship of the new ring.
New
and
villain.
There's a new Sauron, and he has an even bigger tower.
No.
And it has 2 eyes.
That's what I was going to say. 2 towers, 2 eyes.
Mm-hmm. There's two towers. And we have everyone come back.
Right.
All the old fellowship is there. And they got to teach the new fellowship
how to do
a quest.
That's right. 3 movies.
Mm-hmm. And we'll have the prince. We'll have Aragorn's son, the prince. He'll be there. And Frodo will have a daughter named Frolina. And she'll be there.
Right.
But no.
Something. We'll think
and
of it.
Gandalf will still be there because I think he's immortal or something.
Maybe. Might have to make him AI because Ian McKellen might be dead.
Yeah, we can recast him. We'll say that his magic was too powerful and it made him...
Sam.
No. Here's what you do. Hang on.
We're thinking like Disney Star Wars.
His wizard magic made him de-age.
Made him younger.
That's part of being a wizard.
We can cast hot young actor as Gandalf.
Exactly. And we'll have Timothée Chalamet will be Gandalf.
That's right.
And
no, he seems more like a hobbit to me. He would be a hobbit.
And Chris Pratt will be the hobbit.
And
Zendaya will be Frolina.
So be an elf.
Should she be an elf or Frolina?
I think she's more elf. She can be
who
Antonio
would be
Banderas' daughter.
We need a woman who's got like a little bit of grit to her to be Frolina.
A little bit of grit?
Yeah, like some like
Florence Pugh?
Florence Pugh will be Frolina. Yes.
Right.
You see? How hard would that be, Warner Brothers? I came up with that. I just pulled that out of my butt right now. And I promise you that would, unironically, like literally zero irony, I promise you that would make more money than this.
This movie will probably do fine.
No. I think this movie will do slightly better than War for Rohirrim.
No, I think it's going to... It'll do fine. It's got Gollum. People know Gollum.
Do people know Gollum? Because people freaking hated Gollum last time we did a Gollum solo project.
That's different.
Is it?
Yeah, that's different.
Is it different?
Yeah.
It's the same audience.
No, it's a different audience. Because the movie...
No, it's not. It's Lord of the Rings nerds.
No, but for
they buy everything Lord of the Rings. It's the same guys.
For the movie, you're appealing to the general audience who's only seen the movie. For the video game, you're appealing to the Lord of the Rings fans who play video games. So it's
Lord of the Rings Return to Moria sold 1 million units.
Yeah, that's not.
And I don't even know what that is.
That's not a lot. For the movie, it's millions and millions of people. So the movie, it's got Gollum. They know who he is. It's gonna have all the old actors in it. They're gonna have nostalgia for it. They'll be like, "Oh,
but they're not gonna be.
Lord of the Rings
nothing's happening in this movie.
It doesn't matter. So they made 3 Hobbit movies. Nothing happened in the first 2.
This will make I'm calling it now. This will make
7 hours.
This will make half of whatever Solo made.
So like $150 million.
Yes.
No, yeah. I think this will do like
make half of whatever Solo made.
This will do like 5 something. If it's good, it'll do like 7. Those
500 million
those
for this.
Those movies were a cultural phenomenon. They made so much money. They were a giant thing.
Yes.
And
you're right.
The Hobbit movies
Let me explain my
also made a lot of money.
Let me explain my math. Let me explain the math here. Star Wars is the biggest movies.
No, Marvel's the biggest movies.
Okay. I'm talking about I think Star Wars is culturally more similar to Lord of the Rings than it is to Marvel.
I agree with you on that.
Okay. Han Solo, arguably, the second most popular character in Star Wars, behind Luke, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Gollum, who is not even in the top 10 most popular characters for Lord of the Rings, he's like a goblin that they interact with once.
But he's the most well-known. Him and Gandalf.
Is he?
100%.
I would say Frodo is more well-known than Gandalf, or more well-known than
They know what
Gollum.
a hobbit is, but like, Gollum he's a little CG guy and he goes, "My precious." They know that. People know that.
So they know that quote. Okay, but my point is,
this movie
Han
got
Solo,
greenlit because of that.
Listen,
that movie got greenlit because
my
of
point is, way more people know Han Solo, or at least they care more about Han Solo than they do about Gollum. I think that is fair to say.
I don't agree with you.
That doesn't make any sense. He doesn't even do anything.
It's not about care. You're saying care. It's about, are they aware of this thing? And they're aware of Gollum.
No, but they have to be interested in that character to some degree. We know if they aren't, they just won't see it. Like, it happens all the time. Like, people did not go see people didn't go see freaking Han Solo movie. That's my point. If they won't go to see Han Solo, which is basically this movie but infinitely more popular, then why would they go see Gollum?
Cute CGI guy. Nostalgia.
He's not cute. It's not like Stitch where like you can sell plushies of him. I mean, you can, just no one will buy them.
We'll make him cute. Or cuter. We'll soften
We're doing baby Gollum. We're baby Golluming.
Why not? Baby Gollum.
Okay. That's a good idea, but we'd have to like redo. We'd have to go way farther back timeline wise to make that work. And he wasn't even Gollum when he was a baby. He was a normal hobbit when he was a baby.
Who cares? Let's just make a baby Gollum. So we gotta milk this 70-year-old book for all it's worth. All right, we gotta just make crap up. Baby Gollum. Sell plushies at your local Target.
They're Lord of the Rings characters by popularity.
Gremlins, Sam. Gremlins and Goonies. You want more of those? How about cute little characters?
That is not real. That is not a thing that exists.
I think
they will not be doing that.
Gremlins will happen. I doubt Goonies will.
Oh, it'll happen, but like it won't. Like no one will care.
Yeah. I mean, they like
because
Gremlins are cute.
Even the people I know who not Gremlins. I'm saying Goonies.
Oh yeah, no Goonies. No, that's got bomb. No.
Even the people I know that know what Goonies is, like that have seen Goonies, don't like Goonies.
No, Goonies is not very good.
Like Goonies is a movie that everyone pretends is really good for some reason, but like everyone hates. It's weird. The movie doesn't make any sense. I'm still not over the fact. And Teen Titans Go, I think, did the best parody of it, where there's just a freak in the basement. Why was he there?
Because of pirate treasure.
Why was he there?
Pirate treasure.
Why did they chain him up in the basement?
Pirate treasure. Josh Brolin's in it.
Why is there pirate treasure? Where even does this movie take place?
Kwan.
Kwan is not a place. That's a guy.
It takes place in Oregon.
There's not even a ocean in Oregon.
There's a character named Chunk.
That's not a character. That's not a thing.
I'll be back.
It's not real.
Back for a new Goonie. Goonie 2. Goonies
so there's a port in Oregon.
They're 60 years old now. They're going to go on an adventure. They got kids. They're going to do the same thing their dads did.
Dumb.
Thing. We're going to have girl characters now. We got to add some girls. There's too many boys.
Weren't there girl characters in the first one?
No, not enough. I think one of the criminals was a girl.
I think there was a girl. I remember there being a girl.
No, more girls. Got to at least be half and half.
Goonies cast.
We got to
give... Yeah, Carrie Green was there. Steph, Martha Plimpton was there.
Yeah, that's not enough.
That's 2. Mary Ellen Trainor was there. She played Miss Walsh.
With like 5 Goonies, we got to get like 3 girls.
Elaine Cohen was in it. She played Chunk's mother. Her character didn't get a name.
But yeah, it was Chunk's mother.
Jeff Cohen, who
This is
played Chunk.
this is my
That's not a
daughter.
woman,
This
but
is my
that's
daughter
Chunk.
Chunk's mother.
None of these characters even have names. There's Mikey, Chunk,
No,
Mouth, Data, and Andy. Andy's the only one with a real name.
Sam. It doesn't matter what their names are. What matters is the
Sloth
fact
is
that
not a name.
what matters is the
Jake
fact
is a
that
name.
3 of these people are still relatively famous. So let's bring them back now that they're old and do the same old crap all over again.
Josh Brolin was in that movie?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'll be back. He's 60 now.
Okay, I don't want that.
And
Get rid
Gremlins
of
will
it.
do Gremlins again. That's just
Gremlins will
Gremlins
do
do Gremlins.
fine because
Yeah, because
Mogwai
Gremlins are
will always
cute.
make money.
Because they're
That was the
cute.
first Minion. You
Yeah.
can do Minions. Minions always makes money.
And then they're
All
also
right.
remaking The Bodyguard.
Huh?
Director Sam Wrench of Taylor Swift The Eras
Didn't we
Tour
just
and
do
writer
the
Jonathan
bodyguard
Abrams.
thing? I feel like we just did that.
We did The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, but that was unrelated.
Yeah, we just did a bodyguard thing.
No, this is a remake of the Kevin Costner movie from 1992.
What is this? What is this? Never let her out of your sight. Never let your guard down. Never fall in love. With Whitney Houston in it.
38% on
Is
Rotten
she going to be in this
Tomatoes.
one?
Why not? Bring it back. She can play a different character.
Bring back Whitney Houston?
Yeah, she can play a different character. I really hope I'm not getting confused and Whitney Houston's not dead.
Is she dead?
is dead. Ooh. Yeah, no, can't bring her back. Maybe
Oh,
we
she
can with the
died
computer.
like 10 years.
Yeah,
She died
maybe we
like
can bring her
13
back
years ago.
with CGI.
Oh, she died at 48. She was not very
Yes,
old.
young. Kevin Costner's still alive though.
It's true.
He's too busy making Horizon sequels to do this stuff.
All right. Well, what's next?
That's all the news.
What's Michael doing?
Oh, Michael Giacchino is going to direct a remake of Them.
That's not real.
A B monster
What does
movie
that
from
mean?
the 50s. It's one of those big
That's
insects
not real.
movies.
What are we? Guys.
That Werewolf by Night special was pretty cool.
Guys. What are we doing?
No, what's fun about that?
Why are we just make it a different thing? What is? No one knows them.
Well,
that's not even a title. That's a single pronoun.
Okay. Well, half the reason they do these like old library title remakes is not because of the brand recognition. It's just because the premise is good. And if you remake it, you get to make the same movie again.
What even is the premise of Them?
Of Them, it's those big insects.
Movie.
And they're gonna eat you.
Movie. What is Them movie? What is this movie? Them. 1954.
Yep.
That's a little bit of a while ago.
Yeah.
And then they made another one in 2006, but it was a French movie, so it doesn't count.
And
then in 2021, they made a TV show called Them on Prime Video, but I don't think that's related. And in 1996, they also made a TV show called Them. I don't know what that is either. Oh, wait, it says right here. It's a movie. It was a TV movie. It's about a geophysicist and his nephew who believe aliens are invading Earth using lightning.
Yeah, that's not what this film is going to be about, I'm assuming.
So this is the one with the giant ants?
Mm.
Isn't this a movie already also?
Oh, yes, but it'll be
Isn't there a silly one? Isn't there a silly funny one where there's alien bugs and then they use like dishwasher detergent to kill them all at the end or something? What movie is that?
Probably, I don't know. We're doing it again. Got to do the same premise.
Movie
Michael Giacchino.
Where they kill
the composer's going to direct
bugs
it.
with soap.
Anyway,
and
Sam, I just want to say that, like you said, if we
Joe's Apartment from 1996.
Huh?
No, that's not the right one.
I was thinking Joe's Apartment doesn't sound like the right movie. Joe's Apartment sounds like not like a big insect film. All I'm saying, Sam, is if we ran Warner Brothers, and I know every human being alive says this, I think we could almost guarantee to make better greenlighting decisions at this studio than Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. You know what I think is a big problem with these studio execs, Sam?
What's that? That they don't listen to us and they should because we know better.
Oh, well, that is number one. But I think 2 is they're too concerned with like making people happy.
Evolution. That was the name of the movie from 2001 with Ivan Reitman.
Oh, the Ivan Reitman movie?
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, that was them trying to do Ghostbusters again. They were like, "Can we do Ghostbusters again with a different thing?" And it didn't work. And then they're like, "Can we do Ghostbusters again with the Ghostbusters?"
And then at the end of the movie, they stick a big pipe in its butthole and they fill it with soap and it dies.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the executives are too concerned with like making the talent happy. But honestly, like we wouldn't care. We'll trash our relationships with everyone in Hollywood as long as we're making those sweet, sweet profits.
Well, wait, like in what? I don't think that's the issue. Like, in which one of these is that happening?
Like, well, no, that's the thing where it's like, oh, we're gonna let this person come in and do this movie. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna be like, that's a stupid idea. Get out of my office.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like if Michael Giacchino came up to me and was like, "I'm making a them movie," I would go, "Shut up."
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I would
That's
go,
stupid. Give me a better movie idea.
You're gonna make Conjuring 7 because we know that works. And I know this.
If Chris Columbus and Amblin came to me and they said, "We're making Goonies 2," I'd say, "Goodbye to that idea. That's stupid. Give me a better idea."
I would greenlight an 8-episode limited HBO Max series of Goonies.
I think because I think no one would watch that.
No, I feel like people. I think dads would watch that. Dads who remember Goonies, and that's your primary demographic. But they're not going to pay to see that in theaters. They're only going to watch it if they can have it in the background while they're on their phone.
Yeah, Netflix will do that.
Exactly. This is
Andy Serkis. I would not make this Gollum thing. I would go
say, make a different Lord of the Rings. Put Gollum in it, but make a different Lord of the Rings. This is a stupid idea.
Yeah. Does Gollum live forever? Is Gollum immortal?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We can make crap up. It doesn't matter.
Is Gollum immortal? No, he's not.
Excuse.
Okay. Oh wait. Okay. He has an extended lifespan, so he could be in it still.
No, or you know what? Magic brought him back to life.
Sure.
He gets thrown into a
Tolkien.
volcano.
None of it is like.
It can be a Christ
things just kind of happen in Tolkien.
It doesn't matter.
Like in Tolkien book, it's like, yes, there is a very thorough explanation, but it's so complicated that like basically it just happened. It just happens that way.
If you
just accept that's how it happened.
Justify your weird thing via magic science, but you came up with magic science, it's just as unjustified as it was to begin with. So
exactly,
it's fine. Yeah, we would make better decisions.
You know what I would greenlight?
What would you greenlight?
6-episode Tom Bombadil miniseries.
Oh, Sam, I would greenlight a 6-season Tom Bombadil.
I feel like we need infinite Tom Bombadil content. Tom Bombadil
we can get. That's what we need.
Tom Bombadil is the best character in Lord of the Rings, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, which is all of you, Google Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, just
there's a Tom Bombadil parody character in Lord of the Beans.
What is Lord of the Beans?
VeggieTales.
Oh yes.
They made a parody movie of Lord of the Rings called Lord of the Beans, and in that movie, there's a random guy who rides around on a unicycle and will occasionally just like pop up and say some nonsense and then roll away. And he was like a Tom Bombadil stand-in.
That's my next thing I'm gonna do as Warner Brothers studio president. We're gonna get the rights to VeggieTales, reboot it, live action.
Who has that? Netflix?
6-season dramatic new adaptation for adults. Larry,
I don't know if it can be rebooted. Are any of the guys who make it still involved?
It's probably been scooped up by like Angel Studios or one of those.
Big Idea Entertainment. I think Big Idea Entertainment like imploded. Like I think the guys who were behind it were doing like
Big Idea Entertainment owns the IP. Oh no, they're defunct as of 3 years ago. It looks like Universal has it.
Yeah, I think they like imploded on themselves, I'm pretty sure.
It looks like Universal owns that at this point. Yeah. Yeah,
they're in a lawsuit with guys from who used to work for them.
Okay, well, we're going to swoop in. We're going to give them a boatload of cash. We're going to pick this IP up, and we're going to make it into a live-action animation hybrid series for adults where they all swear in sex.
Dark and Gritty reboot. I haven't seen a Dark and Gritty reboot in a minute.
Scooby-Doo. It's on its way. And Netflix.
When is
the
that
Riverdale
happening?
guys are doing it.
I
Greg
mean, a
Berlanti
movie.
is doing a live-action Scooby-Doo show.
I guess we only really got dark and gritty reboots of shows, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean the kids stuff. The movies are harder because people get upset. The TV stuff you can get people to hate watch because it's free. It's the
Yeah,
movies, the
like,
pay
we
stuff
got
they don't like.
I mean, Velma was kind of a dark and gritty reboot. Not really, but it was a
No,
something.
that was this one's for adults though, and that was canceled after 2 seasons because everyone hate watched the first season and then didn't care for the second one.
Yeah, because it was really bad.
Anyway, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see. Let me see if
Got to do the
I
quick.
have any.
Has anything broken while we've been recording?
Did anything break while we were recording?
Uh,
Harvard. That's probably not related to stuff
oh,
we talk
that's a
about.
real
Ryan
news.
Gosling. What happened to Ryan? Oh, that's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. We just talked about that.
Sam, do you care that Benson Boone announced his next album?
I don't know what that is that you said.
I don't. I wish I knew. Wait, no, I don't.
What?
I'm
Oh, we
happy I
could
don't
talk
know.
about we got some more information on the pricing for the Switch 2 Breath of the Wild stuff with the DLC and how that game is $90
Oh
now.
yeah, the DLC is not included in the $70 Nintendo Switch 2 edition, so you have to pay for that
Although
separately.
that is egregious and ridiculous. But that is the same price as if you just upgrade from the base game and you already have the DLC.
Oh, as in like, yeah, you pay for the upgrade and you already spent
Like if you
$20
buy the $60 game and then you bought the
8 years
DLC,
ago.
then you're at
Yeah.
$80, and then $10 for the upgrade, you're at 90. So like, yeah, it sucks, but it's the same price. Like
Technically, yes, but
it's not
it's
different.
also a $20 you spent on DLC 8 years ago that every other company would have given in the base game for a remaster, including
Yes,
Nintendo has
but
done this
Nintendo
several
is not
times.
every other company.
That's
They
right.
are
They're a bunch of
they are
greedy
not.
little goblins.
They hate
They
you when
hate
they
their
don't want you to buy their
consumers.
product.
No, they want, okay, they don't want me to buy their product, but they know I'm going to buy their product, so they do stuff like this.
Yes.
Although
Well,
I
I'm not
won't buy
going to
the
buy Breath of
I'm
the
not going to
Wild
buy the
again.
Zelda
I'll upgrade
remasters.
Tears of the Kingdom, but I'm not
I
going to
might
do
not
Breath of the
even do
Wild again. I
that.
already played it. I'll do Tears of the Kingdom
I
because I
might
want to
do
see. I
Tears
do want to play it like
on
4K,
60
60
FPS.
FPS.
I just want the frame
That's
rate.
sick. I still have stuff in Tears of the Kingdom I haven't done. I haven't gotten all the armor yet. I haven't done the Korok seeds. Like I have stuff I could do in that game. So like
Yeah.
I'm glad to pick that game back up. I will. Breath of the Wild being more than Tears of the Kingdom does not make any sense at all.
Yeah.
It's half the game
And it's
for
way older.
more money. That doesn't. Why would I do that?
Yeah, it's
Doesn't make any
stupid.
sense. And okay, I played Breath of the Wild way more than Tears of the Kingdom, like by
Yeah.
an order of like
Yeah, me too. I didn't even
three
finish
times.
Tears.
I put 300 hours in Breath of the Wild and about 100 and something in Tears of the Kingdom.
I beat Breath of the Wild twice.
Tears of the Kingdom is the better game. Like it is more game. The story is better written.
People hate
There
the
is more
story.
content. There is more to do. It is just a better game. The only reason I did not play it as much is because I already played Breath of the Wild. And
Yeah.
so I already had a lot of time in this world. I was really only playing for the new content. But if I had not played Breath of the Wild, this would be the most video game ever put in a video game.
Mm.
So yeah. That's what I think that's crazy. I don't know why they would do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I know why they do that. It's so they can get more money from you.
But like, I think at that point it is actually a barrier to sales because like most people aren't gonna. You're just gonna get Tears of the Kingdom. You're not gonna do both.
No, people
And if
aren't.
you're gonna pick one, you're gonna pick the new one.
Well, I think the only people buying the Breath of the Wild remaster are going to be hardcore Nintendo completionists who just want all of the
And
games they
those
can
people
get.
already have the
Already
DLC, so they're
have the
not gonna
DLC.
pay again.
Yeah. But for the
So
few
like, it's
people,
literally you are
yeah.
just being preventative. Like you are accomplishing
Well, I think
nothing.
it's like people who want to buy both games because they haven't played them, and they're like, "Oh, I'll play both the new Zelda games." They're like, "Oh, we gotta pay $20 for the DLC." And but you don't really need the DLC for either for Breath of the Wild. Like it's not that important.
No,
The
and the
Master
DLC
Trials are
like is
cool, but
not.
that's it. And
It's
then the
cool,
Champions Ballad
but there's
stuff
not a whole
is
lot going on.
the Champions Ballad stuff is pretty redundant for the base game. So
Yeah, I did play the game in hard mode again, though. That was cool.
Yeah,
that's fun.
But if you want to play a more
do that.
difficult Zelda game, you can just play Tears of the Kingdom. So
I don't think there was any other big Switch news or really any video game news that I can think of.
I mean, there's big news in terms of real news, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, it's been a rough go of real news. Let's see what's going on with video games.
That's
anything happening with video games?
This week Sinners comes out. Really looking forward to Sinners.
Yeah, people are very excited.
Incredible reviews.
Star Wars Zero Company. We didn't talk about Star Wars Zero Company.
I don't care.
What's that? What's happened? What is that? What is that? Andor? What's going on? What is this game? What are we doing?
I'm looking forward to that.
Single-player turn-based tactics game. Why are we doing Mario Rabbids Star Wars?
I couldn't tell you.
Is this real? Are we doing this? Is this gonna happen? Is this a real game, or is this? Let's see here. Ooh, Big Reactor.
Okay, so no, this is not a real game.
So it is a fledgling independent developer. Is this a mobile game? Like, I don't understand. What is What is this?
A mobile game. It's probably a mobile game.
Oh, they did the Star Wars Jedi games and Titanfall. It's in collaboration with Respawn. Yeah.
They're gonna review more at Star Wars Celebration.
Interesting.
Oh, is that this week?
Yeah, Star Wars Celebration is this week.
All right, I guess we'll talk about that.
So that's going to be big. We'll have more news for Star Wars next week.
Got Sinners this week. Daredevil wraps up. And then we got Star Wars Celebration, and then Andor starts next week. And then Sam, our summer movie predictions is going to be the episode after that.
Let's go. And Joel will survive into next week's episode of Last of Us for sure. He will definitely survive the next episode.
Well, Sam, he's going to survive.
And he will be alive for the whole season.
Yes.
And he'll be in the third season as well. And not as a flashback, he'll just be there. He'll be there as an alive person.
The main character. Wait, he wouldn't die.
Yeah, no, that he can't die. He's the main guy.
He's Pedro Pascal, okay? They're just hiding all of the scenes from after the first
I think that's all the news we have this week. I don't think we have anything else.
Next week. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the McDonCast with Sam and Tucker McDonCast. Bye-bye.